What's going on, guys? Uche Joku, Sneaker Principal, and trimming stick. I know this is random, but I gotta start my videos being random. So this is a piece of wood. I'm not sure what tree it comes from, but it's called chewing stick. It's very common in West Africa. This is the original toothbrush. Yes, people clean their teeth with a chewing stick. This is how you would get off the plaque, and just overall, just establish hygiene in your mouth. I know people are probably thinking, wow, that's what he does for his teeth. No, I use toothpaste and I have a toothbrush. I use that every single day, multiple times a day. But once in a while, just grab one of these midday and just chew on it. Weekends, I don't do this out in public, and I chew on it until the wood portion of it here is nice and soft, and that kind of rub against my teeth. And it's kind of cool. It's a good way to kind of like make sure you get that plaque and whatever, the stuff that your toothbrush doesn't catch. So this is what this is, if you're wondering, like, why does he have a stick in his mouth? But I'm not going to put it in my mouth because it's kind of hard to talk with it in your mouth. So I'm going to put it right down here. What I want to talk to you about or share with you right now is my experience over the weekend using my Leica M11-P during two events that I went to. The first event was my daughter's carnival at her school. It was amazing to see all these kids, lower and middle grades, I believe. Almost no, actually no, it was mostly lower grades. So we're talking about kindergarten through fifth. Some siblings were there, some siblings who were in the middle school, even in the high school were there. But having a space for kids to run around on a beautiful sunny day, and a safe space to play bouncy houses, face painting, pizza, all kinds of games, kickball, and just like community. So it was pretty awesome. So I took my daughter there and her brother. Her brother is goes into net school right now. Cross your fingers, he'll be there next year. Sorry, I had a little bristles from the chewing stick in my mouth. So I brought my camera. I brought my Leica. I also brought my Fujifilm XT5. And I was like, I'm just going to capture pictures using both cameras with two varying focal lengths. So I used the 90 millimeter on the Fuji, which comes out to be roughly about 135 millimeters. If I did the math correctly, yeah, 135 millimeters, because the Fuji XT5 Fujifilm is a APC camera. So whatever lens you put on, you multiply by 1.5. So the 90, for all intents and purposes, becomes a 35. Oh, this sucks. Oh, I should drink some water before I start talking. But so what ends up happening is, at the event, I used the 35 millimeter to give myself some distance, and catching things that I was seeing all around me, so I didn't have to be people's faces. So I caught a couple of. I didn't take a lot. I didn't take tons of pictures because, again, I'm there with my kids and I got to keep an eye on them. So, but I was taking pictures of them, and then just interesting shots. I just want to get just moments where I'm like, oh, that's a beautiful moment. So I was doing that with the Fuji, but then I also had the Leica, which allowed me to, because I have Summicron 28 f2, so it allows me to get those wider shots, those environmental shots, and I love practicing shooting from the hip with zone focusing, which is super fun. Like, I'll be honest with you, when I first heard about zone focusing, I thought to myself, this is the most complicated thing ever. And for those of you who don't know what zone focusing is when you set your camera to a distance, give or take a couple of feet, and you just kind of like take a picture, and whatever is in that range of space will be in focus. So being out there, I was trying to catch as much space as possible So I kept it between I would say about 8 feet to 15 feet. Some infinity, but the infinity was only for something that was out in distance, like signage that I wanted to catch in the background. But everything else was really about 8 to 15 feet, which meant that I had to kind of like visually measure how far people were from me, or whatever the thing was that I was trying to capture, how far it was from me. So I had to kind of like in my head say, okay, I think that's about 8 feet or 15 feet, depending on what it was. And then I wanted everything in focus. So I kept my aperture at I would say roughly about 5.6, some at 8. But because I just wanted to capture the scene and have everything be in focus at least as best as possible. So I was doing that, and I'll be honest with you, it's really fun when you're doing the math in your head. You're like, okay, I'm trying to catch that. And then there are moments where I just want to catch like my daughter or my son. So I'll put it at f2 or f2.8 so I can get that blurred background, and I'll get really close to them. And that's the issue with a 28 millimeter. Um, it's really good for capturing, a wide shot. So if you want to capture somebody like specifically or I think specifically, you have to get super close. And when I'm talking about super close, I'm talking about close enough where they know you're taking a picture of me. You're literally feet away from them. I'm not talking about like 5 or 6 feet. I'm talking about like you're 2, 3 feet away to be able to capture them and also get that blurry background. Of course, with 28, you're gonna get a little bit of that wide lens distortion kind of, but it's still beautiful shots. I mean, with the Leica, you get amazing color. It just feels very um uh not I won't say old. It just feels like what looking at an old, not an old per se, but pictures from back in the day that kind of had a color translation that you knew was unique to the camera to get a picture. So that's what I was doing with the Leica, and I had a great time. I'll be honest with you, I had a really great time. There were moments where there's still a lot of settings in here that I don't really use, and I think I triggered the focus peaking, and with the focus peaking you get the little red outlines, and I haven't worked with it long enough to truly understand and master it. So at one point in time, I was trying to turn it off. It was starting to annoy me, and I think I just kind of like got into my head too much with that. But for the most part, zone focusing and just being able to capture scenes was really cool. And again, I had a great time with the Fujifilm. I don't get to use a 90 millimeter, which translates to 135 too often. But there were some shots that I took that were just like, whoa, like this is an amazing photograph. And I'm gonna share those images, a couple of them at the end of this video, so you can see and you can tell me yourself what you think. Um, but yeah, it was fun. It was fun being out yesterday taking pictures, and we also went to a birthday party. That was the second event. At the birthday party, I was so busy talking to people that I forgot to set my camera for the space we were in. So as soon as I pulled out my camera, started taking pictures, I realized that I was using I think Realia, the what do you call it, the photo recipe, and because of the space we were in and the lighting in there and the white balance setting, the images were very very orange. So I'm trying to catch the moment that the little birthday girl is blowing out a candle, and I'm fighting to try. And it's one of those things you realize when you walk into a space, you have to make sure, especially if you intend to take pictures, that you have to make sure you do some test shots so you know where you are and know that your camera's ready for whatever might come up. You don't want to be trying to figure out how to change something as the moment is happening, because you will miss those moments. But I made some quick adjustments, that allowed me to get the best picture possible. That hopefully in post I'll be able in Lightroom to edit it to the point that I'm looking for it to be at, so I can send it to the parents of the young girl. Um, but yeah, it was fun. I got a lot of pictures of my kids. I love capturing them because so I know sometimes I annoy them and they're probably thinking, why is Daddy always taking pictures of us? Because I want you one day to look back through the images I take and you get to see how I saw you. You know, one thing I've learned is because time is not promised and anything can happen at any given time, you want to be able to have um, those memories captured, those moments captured, you know, those moments made into photographs, so that they have something of you when you're not here anymore. But but yeah, it was great. And like again, I make these videos for that purpose too, because one day they're gonna be like, wait a minute, that's Daddy. What is Daddy talking about? And hopefully they get to see some of who I am, at least at this point in time in my life, and also understand what my passions are and why, what excites me and why I do what I do. And yeah, I just want to make this quick video to share with you my adventure yesterday um, with the Leica and the Fuji. I mean, the Fuji is it's an amazing camera. I feel like those are my two like main. Like, if I was told, hey, bring your camera right now, I'm not thinking twice about it. I'm grabbing my camera bag that is pretty much set up for my Fuji Fujifilm XT5, with my lenses in there, and then my most basic, straight to the point, like a M11-P. This camera, this lens, that's it. You know, this camera and that camera in my camera bag. I'm ready to go. I know I can capture some amazing shots. But at the same time, don't get me wrong. My Canon gear is what I take with me when I know I'm walking into a space that requires the most straight to the point, amazing images, and I don't have time for any possible confusion to happen or to get lost. So that's when I put out the R6 Mark II or the R5 Mark II, depending what is required of me. But just when it comes to just capturing those moments that just for me, from my artistic eye, Leica and Fujifilm. All right, that's it. Have an amazing rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you all later. All right, peace.